What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharp, and welcome to another edition of Side Hustle Saturdays. I, of course, am joined by my boy, JD. Now, JD, you're not at home in Louisiana. You're actually down in the dirty South in Atlanta, or up in
That's right.
Atlanta.
That's right. Yeah, everything's up. It's freezing as hell up here, and
My God, yeah.
visiting for a couple days. But I mean, it's similar in Louisiana right now.
Okay.
Dude, we drove about 8 hours here, and there was
Okay.
like it's hard to do this like a meteorologist, but on the way up, there's like a rainstorm that's like my arm, right? And it's like this exact angle that we had to go. So it was like an 8-hour road trip with straight rain through here.
How long would it normally take you to drive to Atlanta from where you live in Louisiana?
It didn't slow us down, but like it probably took, let's say, 8.5 hours versus maybe 7.5 hours. So it wasn't. Could have been worse. I've done like driving through a snowstorm, and that was way worse.
Oh my God.
We were nervous driving through Texas one time, doing like 25 miles an hour.
I can't imagine. That's got to be tough. I'll tell you this too. When I hit another tax bracket, road trips were a thing of the past for me. I fly every time now, man. Dude, flying to me, it's the only way to travel. A lot of people complain about air travel, but I love it. I love flying. You get there a lot quicker. And these days, and we'll get into the topic here shortly. And by the way, guys, the phone lines are open right now. Call in with your side hustle questions. Any question you want to ask, don't ask me because I don't know. But any question you want to ask Jeff about anything having to do with side hustle, the number is on your screen, 516-387-1987. But yeah, for me, I love to fly. I like the, and maybe I'm a weirdo, but I love the airport experience. I like the fact that the customer service that we're afforded when we're in the airport on airlines. I love it, man, because airlines they're struggling right now because, of course, the pandemic. And what it really comes down to is that they know you have options, and when they know you have options, they have to compete. So now is as good a time as any to fly a lot less expensive and get a lot better service. So, but shout out to you for.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Well, no, I haven't flown in a few years.
Oh wow!
Since COVID started, and I used to fly all the time. And like you said, we have options, and it's a harder option to drive. But
wish you make, right?
Given the way that things are going, I'm like driving, and it was rough. It was a rough drive, and it made me question my life decisions. But I'm with you. I'm with you. Like people, it's kind of like it's like women being hit on. They complain about it, but they love it. And like people complain about the airport, but dude, who are we kidding? You can get across the country in 4 hours.
I don't know what it is. I love airports. The terrible ones, like the one in Newark, is it is an absolute terrible airport. But I still love the airport. I love the airport experience. Now let me ask you. Now you're in Atlanta. I assume you're either in Buckhead or Midtown.
Yeah, I'm in Midtown.
Okay, all right. I was about to say, look, if you're in College Park, East Point, Riverdale, Forest Park, Jonesboro, I would advise you to get off of this and seek safety.
Look. So this morning I woke up and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna run the entire city," because I run, and I was like, "I'm gonna run." There's the Belt Line, right? And I got like 7 miles in, and you start to get into like more pathways where there's like big ass rocks.
Right.
They started like chewing up my ankles and my feet.
Woo!
And luckily I have friends here, and I was like, "Dude, come get me." And it was right as I pulled up into an area called Pittsburgh, which just like, I don't know a thing about Atlanta, but I was like, all right, this probably isn't good. And my buddy's like, "Yeah, I'm coming. I'm gonna come get you real quick." And I made it like 9 miles in. And I was like, "Man, I'm chewed up." So, I'm in Midtown. Midtown's great. It's I don't know. I don't know a lot about Atlanta, but it seems great. So
nice. Midtown is awesome.
Yeah.
Please seek safety. Yin Yang Magic with the 99-cent super sticker. Appreciate that. Then he sent another super sticker. So guys, the phone lines are open. 516-387-1987, 516-387-1987. Nasty Nabs says, I'm stuck between affiliate marketing and drop shipping. What's a good starting point? Because I plan to try both. Good question. What do you have for that?
They're both they're both potentially profitable. And it's like, so drop shipping, is using essentially like someone else that has the product, and you're able to list that product for free and then see if that product sells, and then use the fact that you've already been paid to then ship the product to the customer.
Okay.
And that's where I got my start online is doing drop shipping. And so when it comes to affiliate marketing, it's similar. It's kind of like taking someone else, like let's say you have your courses, Donovan. It's like it's like you telling me like, hey man, I'll give you 50% of anything you sell. And then me being like, okay, I got a men's group. Let me or I don't have a men's group, but let me figure out like a market that maybe you're not marketing to.
There you go.
Throw out this product and see who buys it, and then get 50% without having like an actual cost of goods sold. The risk there is like, how do you actually get do you spend money on the marketing and then maybe not get that, maybe not make any sales? But yeah, so I don't have as much experience with succeeding with affiliate marketing, but that doesn't mean that, it's not a good business model. So when it comes to drop shipping on eBay, right? On Facebook right now, Facebook's almost like the new Amazon with cheaper fees.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if you've ever looked on Marketplace, but recently over the last year, you almost can't find anything locally because Facebook is pushing the stuff that they're making money off of, which is the stuff that's being shipped. Right. When you list stuff local to sell local, you don't make it, like they don't make any money. There's no fee on that.
Yeah.
Right. When you list it to ship, they're charging 5%, which is actually really, really a cheap fee. That's like nothing. eBay charges you 13%. So it's like eBay, but with way more traffic now.
That's a big chunk, 13 fucking percent, man. That's a lot. Okay, we got callers on the line. Let's go to Jay Blaze in Maine. Jay Blaze in Maine, you are on live, live with Donovan and JD on Side Hustle Saturdays. Go ahead.
Hey, I had two questions. Through my health insurance, I've been able to get 4 free boxes of COVID tests, and he mentioned it in one of the earlier videos. What's the best way to contact and resell them?
Ooh, good question.
The guy that I knew that was reselling them, he had to post them on a Craigslist, and he was posting them on his personal profile, and he lost friends over that. So you have to deal with like cancel culture that's like, hey, you shouldn't be selling these tests. And he wasn't like, they were available for I think $26 with tax, and he was maybe selling them for like $40. So it's not like he was making a killing off each test. Like, to me, that was like a semi-fair market value. It was either pay $40 or not have them. So he legit lost friends. So there's ways to make money, and there's ways to also make money, but then you piss off people. So there's a choice to be made there. But if you're getting some for free,
interrupt you here.
Man, you can sell them in a heartbeat probably for $30, and that's no one would even question it.
Look, if somebody stops being your friend because you're selling COVID tests,
ridiculous. Yeah.
I can't stand it. And I cannot stand these virtue signaling idiots who act like they have a problem with a capitalistic society. It's like they want all of the advantages of a capitalistic society, but still want to be able to virtue signal. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, Walmart sells them for $14. So why aren't you bitching out, CVS and Walgreens for selling for $24?
There you go.
Oh, damn, that's like they're doubling up. They're killing the fucking game as a corporation. Why don't they sell them for $14? Because are they scam artists too? So from 14 to 24 and 24 to 40 is about a similar percentage based on my hood math, I guess.
BJ says funds over feelings. Hell yeah. What was your second? Jay
Yeah.
Blaze?
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, what's the best side hustles for like a cold weather climate?
Ooh, the best side hustle for a cold weather climate. He is in Maine, JD. So what is the best side hustle for a cold weather climate?
I don't know, maybe drop shipping, if you want to have something like year round, like smaller areas, colder areas, things like that don't require you to actually like meet local. Yeah, something where you don't have to leave your house could be the best. Or I mean, if you're looking at like a side hustle where you have to actually put in effort, clearing snow and clearing driveways, things like that could also be decent. But of course, you'd be limited by the fact that you have to actually show up and you actually have to do the work yourself, or you have to hire it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Devin says snow blowers and generators. That sounds like common sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Like
I flip generators. Like I live in a hurricane-prone area, so I flip generators.
Yeah, New Orleans, holy Jesus, yes. Katrina, what do you have to say?
Yeah, like so the way I applied something like my area, the way that I've tested some of those things is generators that I've resold. And again, I just bought a couple of generators during off season and then just held them and then sold them in peak season. But another thing that I tried but I didn't follow through on is so it's kind of like again, I don't know how to do this like geographically accurate, but let's say like, okay, here's Baton Rouge, and then here's like an area that got hit by a hurricane, let's say like 70 miles southeast of me. And then there was like a city up here that listed a fifth wheel.
Okay.
Which is like a camper. They listed it for $2,500. And so I took that and I listed the fifth wheel over here for $5,000. And I was like overloaded with responses over here.
Oh, damn.
And it was over here. It was 2 days old and it was a good deal. So I didn't end up like hearing back from this person. But the truth is, I could be constantly looking like all in this little up here area. Nobody down here is looking this far up.
Yes.
Right. So then you sort of arbitrage the thing to where you list something down here that you could get, and you just build up a buyer's list of people that are like, dude, I'm living on the streets here. I can't like even survive. But that same person isn't going to get anything because they're only looking up this high.
Yeah, right. They're limiting themselves.
They're eliminating themselves. And so some of that can be some money and some risk because you got to actually like go up here to go get it. And then you got to like trust that it's going to sell down here sort of thing.
A lot of
so
this.
Anyway, I don't know how to apply that necessarily to a snow area, like a snowy area, but that thought process of like something that maybe is not exactly where that area is. And then how do you bring it in, whether you order it in bulk during snow season and then get it to those people? What is your area commonly short on when people should have thought about this before, but they don't, and then it's a problem usually. Stuff like that can be good.
Okay, very good. Thanks for calling, Jay Blaze. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
Nasty Nabs.
Yeah.
For checking demand for certain areas. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Got a couple of other suggestions here. We've got salt, firewood, snow blowers, generators, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think those are good ideas.
Look,
all right,
these are things that people would hear and be like, well, duh. But go ahead and order some of that stuff and see how right you are.
Yes.
What you do is you just order something for yourself, and you think like maybe you just either order two or you get a good deal on one during off season, and be like, it's not really a big deal to me. Like I can just shovel it or something. But then when like on season comes, you post that thing for like retail price, but you got a used one that you bought for like 70% off used and off season. You price it like basically retail during on season, sell the brakes off of it real quick.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Let's go to. Hang on a second. Got another caller on the line. Okay, let's go to Kevin in Vegas. Geeky and Ombly, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hello, Donovan. Hello, JD. It's my first time calling in to this podcast. It's actually the first one I've ever seen. because I'm usually busy this time of day on Saturdays.
Okay.
So I appreciate you taking my call. So my question, JD, is so I'm in Las Vegas, and you're probably thinking, dude, how are you lost for side gigs in Las Vegas? I'm a very gregarious person, and I like to craft experiences for people, and I want to bring a smile to their face. Other than bartending or waiting tables, is there something that you can recommend where I can be gregarious and make money at the same time?
Wow, that's a good question.
I assume there's like an unlimited market for like taking people on experiences. So like for example, we paid my brother's bachelor party was in Colorado, and we did like a weed tour kind of thing. And I'm not really into that, but I think we spent like $1,000 just we basically were driven around to different sites. So I don't know what that would look like in Vegas, but possibly like like a strip tour.
Like a rat pack tour.
Yeah, exactly. And it seemed like that would be a good time. It just depends on what your ability to invest is on the front end, as far as like a van or a bus of sorts.
Party bus.
Okay.
Party bus. Yeah, I mean, Donovan, you lived there for a little while. They probably had tons of that kind of stuff, but there was like an unlimited appetite for that kind of thing, I'm assuming.
Oh, dude, yeah. Las Vegas is it's the tourist capital of the world. More people visit Las Vegas for tourism than any other city on earth. Not a lot of people do that, but it's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, and like the way you say this,
and that's the way I do it. Is there's just money just sitting around out there. All I have to do is convince people to give it to me.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
And here's a good point though. What can happen is like that you're like on this side, that you're you like people, you want to show them a good time, like that's a genuine gift of yours, right? And on the other end is like, I gotta get a damn bus, and that's a big expense. And so then you have this gap that never gets closed. And so what you have to do is you have to figure out how to like do something right here in the middle, which involves you saying like, hey, who wants to be taken on a tour? I will take you on a tour for the cost of gas, because I just want to show you a good time. You start putting that out into the world, and you take some people on some tours, and then you figure out for free if that's something you actually want to do. And then from there, you start building up a clientele that's willing to pay you a fair price above your gas. And you somehow then you start bridging from like here to here, what that is. And then eventually it just is like getting the bus is a natural next one step, instead of like this big ass leap that never happens because you never make any steps in between. So like the move would be, who's like letting people know, if you're coming to Vegas, I will show you free time for no reason.
Yes.
And then you become a person that's like, I will do everything it takes to show you a good time. And what happens in between there is like, you make new club connections, you make new, maybe whatever, dispensary connections, or like all kinds of new connections start happening with local businesses who would love to have your business on a regular basis because you recommend them. And you start, like, it starts off almost as like a hobby hustle. And you decide from there if you want to take that to the next level. And then from there, you're like, okay, I want gas money. And then from there, I want gas money plus like some beer money. And then you slowly step that up.
Okay. Any other questions?
I didn't think of that. Thank you, JD.
Got to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be where you're at, because it's too big of a step to go, I'm going to go buy a bus and spend a bunch of money on marketing. Donovan lived in that area for a long time. He had spent a bunch of money on like inventory and advertising and all these things. Yeah. And he might have had the balls to take that chance, but like, that's not a good idea for most people. It's just not going to work for them. It might not work for you. And that's why you're asking this question. It's actually probably not a good idea at all. Right. But he pulled it off. But even still, like, a lot of people do this every day where they say, hey, like, why wouldn't it work? And then they go out and take a chance. They realize like, oh, that's why. And then they lose their ass.
There you go. All right, let's go to Josh in Hot Springs, California. Josh, you're on live with Donovan and JD. Go ahead.
Hi, yes. I have a question for you, Donovan.
Sure.
As a what do you call it? I call it a born again red pill guy, because I just found you through Fresh and Fit. I have a question. Knowing that I live in California, should I be friends with red pill guys, or be friends with everyone? Because that is what I'm struggling with.
Okay. Unfortunately, Josh, that doesn't have to do with the topic. However, I'm going to try to open up the phone lines. That's okay. I'm going to try to open up the phone lines for the 6th later on, which is going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, which is just under 5 hours from now. So if you want to call in and ask about that, I mean, it'll be myself, Rolo, Hotep Jesus, Coach EO. You're better suited to call in then.
Oh, okay. Then just my last question, which is for this topic, is that obviously knowing that I live in California, why is like cancel culture so like hyped up, being like, oh, we need to cancel people who have conspiracy theories over like the vaccine or however?
Again, that doesn't really have to do with the topic in terms of side hustles. I think he's talking about the fact that a friend of yours had lost friends because he was selling COVID tests, but I'm not really, I don't really have anything to say about cancel culture and COVID and all that. That's not really my expertise, but yeah, if you want to know, if you want to discuss these topics, feel free to call in tonight, right around 8:30, probably 9 Eastern, which is 6 Pacific your time. And we'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
All right. Oh, thank you, Donovan.
No problem.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for calling in, Josh. Yeah, always like it when people try to call in. This is an interesting question by Nasty Nabs. It says, what gets more traffic, Google ads or Facebook ads? That's a good question.
Well, Google's has like, this is fresh on my mind. It's something like 20 times the advertising dollars running through it. And so it's more like you can get the same amount of people on either one, but you're going to pay a lot more on Google right now. And it's a constant thing, trying to figure out what's the next platform that you're going to use, and is your audience there? So, for example, I saw a buddy post that he's like, for the same $100 spent on Facebook right now, I'm getting $20 per person interested on TikTok right now.
Oh,
and then, in 3-4 years, it's going to be okay. Someone's saying, hey, for the same $100 on TikTok, I'm getting, the same amount of people for $20 on Snapchat or something like that, or whatever the next platform is. And so, depending on your niche, Google Ads is going to be not an option at all, So
that's interesting.
Almost irrelevant,
Man, that's wow. That's a good. See, I can't do anything on Facebook. Every time I try to do something Facebook business wise, I always get shut down.
Yeah.
Rebel 5150 says Facebook Marketplace is good for flipping cars. That I would agree with, because I see cars being flipped on dude, a good friend of mine. A good friend of mine out in Vegas. His name is Francisco Soto. He flips cars like it's going out of style on Facebook Marketplace.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Devin says potential is Google, but you can get more targeted marketing using Facebook depending upon what you're selling. Yeah. That's a very good. That's Facebook. You can really sort of tweak it in there. And I don't know. I've never really taken anything. I don't know. I'm not on Facebook a whole lot, so I don't really. Yeah. I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about that. But all right, we got another caller on the line. Let us go. Okay, let's go to Jake in Texas. Jake in Texas, you're on live you're on Side Hustle Saturdays. What's your question?
Oh, hi, Donovan. Actually, I don't really have a question, but I have a side hustle, and I was wanting to tell you about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of an interesting story. So I work at the same company that I've worked at, like, for the entirety of my adult life. And I remember when I was in my 20s, I wasn't making very good money. I'd been there for a long time, and I just wasn't very happy in life. And I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and I was like sitting there kind of brooding, feeling sorry for myself, lying in bed drunk. And he had said, don't complain to me about how hard you have it if you have an iPhone in your hand. And I was sitting there watching the podcast on my iPhone.
Yeah.
So I started looking at so I started looking through all the apps in my iPhone, and I'm like, what do I have on here that could help me make money? Because that's my biggest problem in life. And there was eBay. And I was like, well, I spend money on eBay. I never make money on eBay.
Right.
So I Googled how to make money on eBay. And I found out that, you can just go to thrift stores and yard sales and buy things cheap and sell them for a profit.
There you go.
And then I found that there was a community that teaches you how to do that on YouTube for free. And I got really good at it. I think that like one of the most interesting things that I learned was that you can sell used bras on eBay. Like chicks will buy used bras.
You can sell, dude. If you can sell used bras on eBay, you can sell anything. Holy moly!
That's crazy. So that's what you're doing. You're selling used bras? You're getting them on Facebook Marketplace or like garage sales or something.
I didn't hear all that, but I believe you asked me about Facebook Marketplace.
Where are you getting them? Where do you get the bras that you're flipping?
Oh, where do I get my inventory from?
Yeah.
Mostly yard sales and thrift stores, and then also like when I tell people, I don't really do it anymore that much because I've gotten promoted and I got a huge raise and I don't really need the extra money as much, but I still do it like a little bit here and there. But I've also, when I tell people that I do this, they'll just give me stuff for free when they do spring cleaning. They'll be like, oh, hey, I have a whole bunch of clothes. And then like I'll go pick it up. They'll give me a bunch of, crap from their house and trash bags, and I bring it home. I sort through what I want, and what I don't want. There's a certain thrift store that I don't know if you guys have it where you live, but it's called Savers. And if you donate to Savers, they give you a coupon for like 20% off. And so then you can go into Savers and you can buy stuff to resell for 20% off.
Dude, wow.
And
There's
they
so
always
many
have
resources,
something. I never
man.
leave
I think somebody
empty-handed.
earlier, Jake, I think somebody earlier in the chat said, yeah, we need to take advantage of the what is it, storage wars, storage units. Storage units are getting cut. They're getting locks cut every single day. You can get stuff there, pennies on the dollar, man.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of this boils down to what you want to do with your time and your money, and a lot of things are like, what's worth it for you. And so I find like a lot of side hustle and flip stuff, when people make over a certain amount with their job, they're just, they're not as inclined to go out and hustle because it's, they're already kind of killing it at their job. They're making 80, 90, 100, whatever, 100 plus.
Yeah.
And so to me, if you want freedom, a lot of flipping be at least a temporary step back for a lot of people. And then we did Donovan, we did a show this past week on thrift store flipping, which is
okay.
Phenomenal. It's a totally different model from a lot of stuff that I do. It's basically like hunting for gold, which is probably what Jake is more familiar with too as well. Like, finding things where you can get them for $1 and sell them for, 20, 30, something like that. And that's what the storage auctions is. But the problem is you got to go there with a truck and trailer. You got to sort through it. You got to either redonate things or go bring it to trash. You got to have a ton of space, and you got to like some of it you're having to trade up. I mean, it's a whole freaking model that you have to want to do, and you have to want to make all these new connections. It's not just like plug and play, super simple.
No, I agree, and I think and thanks for the call, Jake in Texas. I think the profit margins are a lot higher because you have to have that initial upfront investment. But once you get it going, man, I mean, listen, there's a show called Storage Wars. I think it's on A&E. It's the same guys, and they do this for a reason, because it is profitable and it works. But my guess is that it takes quite a while to start to turn a profit. But if if you get to a point to where you're actually making money on this stuff, then yeah, you could certainly turn a profit doing that. Our last call of the day. Let's go to Kevin in New Jersey. Kevin in New Jersey, you're on with Side Hustle Saturdays. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Good.
So basically, I want to talk more about side hustle, and I know what I do. I don't condone gambling anybody, but what I do, I use DoorDash as my second job, right? So
Okay.
I look at trying to use one thing to leverage into another and build
Yes.
up. So what I'll do, like I look at DoorDash and I'll try to say, okay, well, if I even make just on a small end, $200 a week, for a year, that's 10 grand. So what I do, Donovan, I take, that 200 and, I like crypto, so I'm going in there looking at some of these crypto coins, and I look and say, okay, there's a 10-cent coin. Like I do the research on it and watch how the company's growing. And I just look at it like, hey, if that gets to $1, that's 10x my money. So what I do, I take my DoorDash money and I split it in half. Like I like poker, so I'll go to parks in, Philadelphia, and just on a Sunday, and it's just business. It's not gambling. It's not, in terms of just fun. It's more for business. I go in there and take 100. I try to make 5. I put that back into my crypto to grow. And then from the crypto over time, which I did last year, started out with Ethereum, when it was only like 1,200 and it goes up to 4,000. I'm like, that's 4x my money. So I'm just looking at trying to have money work for me quicker, so I can get into other projects. And basically, man, like just working my regular job, because I'm not trying to stay there. So I'm like, if I work the DoorDash, get into the poker, allow the poker to feed my crypto. So then if I find that one coin that hopefully, it's a little bit of luck, but goes from a quarter to like $2, you're talking 8 extra money. So you got a couple grand in there to 10 grand, you're talking 80K right there. And then properties, man, I'm trying to get into the rentals. So basically that's my thing is,
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Kevin in New Jersey. Skit says crypto is gambling. Yeah, so is investing.
Yeah, it's
a lot
like,
of people,
it's all a gamble. It's just
listen,
a
you
level
can call
of.
it whatever you want. People who listen, man, crypto's the future, and I mean, listen, whether you get on board willingly or not, you're going to have to. Everybody's going to have a crypto wallet. I would say within the next 10 years or so, especially as people are more and more frustrated with fiat currencies and the banking system. And all that other kind of stuff. I mean, it's even though I do well financially, it is still incredibly frustrating for a guy like me to have to ask permission to spend my own money. And then not only it's almost like when I have to call my bank, hey, can you increase my daily limit to $15,000 so I can continue to so I can continue to run my business. I hate that. I really do.
Dude, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm thinking about stepping up my phone business to where I buy a lot of phones, and on a small level, I would need to have $500,000 to $1 million a month coming through my accounts.
There you go.
And I guarantee you, I would be banned very quickly. So then I'd have to have a full-time business on the side where I have like management of like making sure I don't get too much in this account, not too much in this account. I would almost have to have like a side hustle person that deals with the fact that I could get in trouble, not in trouble, but like shut down by any one bank by having too much money coming in and out of it, which is like a guarantee in the business.
Listen, dude, I used to bank with back when I was in the middle of my tax bracket conversion. I banked, and I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to give them a bad name. Oh, look at this. We both drink the same kind of water. How about that? So this you by Smart Water. Yeah. But I remember I had an insane amount of money in this account, and it was such a pain in the ass because I was in the middle of building Studio B. So I'm making thousands of dollars in purchases just about every day. And sometimes I would be able to use my card and sometimes I wouldn't. And and I remember we stayed at the GSR in Reno, and I break out my card. I have more than enough money. I tried to run it 2-3 times. It just wouldn't let me go through it. So I had to call the bank. I'm like, yo, like I'm here in Reno, Nevada, and I have XYZ amount of money in my account, and my card keeps declining. Oh, well, your spending limit is set at X, Y, and Z. And I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. So finally, they actually, and it was a constant battle. I only banged with them for a few months, but after, oh, wait a minute. I think JD lost me. But after a while, I'm going to have to get JD back in here. Hang on. Let me remove him. There we go. But after a while, they actually, hang on a second. Let me, lost you. Jump back in. I'll tell them to jump back in. Let me see if I can get JD back in here. But after a while, they actually called me and told me, hey, we're closing your account. And I was like, what? And it was weird because, wait a minute. Okay, so Jeff is coming back. And it was weird because and they use this shitty excuse. They were like, the guy on the line was like, yeah, there's a lot of money coming in and out of the account. And I'm like, well, that's what my bank account is for. I said, this is why you guys exist. So I don't have to stuff my money between mattresses. Then the guy implicated, he implicated that I was laundering money. And I was like, wait a minute. Did you really just say money laundering? I told him, I said, listen, I said, I want you to, I'm talking about when this bank closed my account for too much money coming in and out. And then they asked me if I was money laundering. I said, do me a favor, go to the last few deposits and you can tell me where they're from. We've got Google, we've got Teachable, we've got Patreon. I asked him, have you heard of those 3 companies? He said, well, yes. And where am I spending the most money? He says, well, it looks like Amazon and Apple. I said, so where, what are you talking about? It was weird because I at that point I felt insulted. And that's when it hit me. I was like, dude, once you reach another tax bracket and you start making a lot more money, banks are finicky. They really want to hold, they're real quick to take in all of your deposits. They're real quick to add to the balance. But then when you want to actually spend your money, then that's when they start tripping. And I was like, dude, this is why cryptocurrency is taken over, because you can spend as much and trade as much as you want. It's ridiculous. It really, really is.
Yeah, it's people don't realize that the hardest part about getting rich is not the method for getting rich. It's the hustle of not getting kicked out of banks.
Yes!
And keeping card processing active. That is by far way harder than how are you going to do it?
Dude, everybody thinks that, and don't get me wrong. It's very, very nice. It is very, very nice to make a good living doing this. It's nice to look at my bank account and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm with a bigger bank who understands, hey, listen, there are going to be times where I'm going to be processing a shitload of money in a very short period of time. And I wanted to make it clear to them. I said, look, dude, I want, and I understand you're doing this for my protection, but I'm sitting here telling you right now, these are my spending habits. I don't want to be someplace at 11 o'clock at night and not be able to use my card because of some limitation, and I've got a personal banking specialist. I can call him on a cell phone anytime, which is good. But you're right, man. And I never had this problem. I never had this issue when I had all my rental properties in Vegas. I was making between $150,000 to $175,000 per year. And that was a shitload of money for me back then. But in 2020, my goal in 2020 was to make $250,000. I made $250,000 before the first quarter ended, and it was all uphill from there. And that's when my bank started acting funny. And it was and I could not believe the frustration that I was. I was like, dude, I thought that making all of this money would make my life easier. And it does, except for when I actually want to spend my own money. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Totally, man. Yeah, you know, what's sad is that when you talk to people, they're like, "Yeah, you got to find a Chinese bank who's
Yes.
cool with like basically breaking all the bullshit rules." And it's like, "Hey, we're Chinese. What are you gonna do?" And they're like, "Just spend your money how you want, and then we'll deal with the repercussions later that are bullshit anyway." You know.
Unbelievable.
Whereas like an American big bank, like when you go to what you realize is like the Chases, the Capital Ones, Wells Fargo, all those are built for like your average people that don't use banks that much.
Yeah.
And then when you want to get rich, you got to find special, like you said, specialty banks where you got the guy's cell phone, and you have to be able to be going there and be like, this is what the fuck I'm going to do.
Yes.
I just need to know that you're not going to stop me from living my life normal and doing perfectly good business. That should not be even a conversation. Is this going to be a problem here? Because if it is, I can just go somewhere else. God damn.
Nasty Nab says, "Mo money, mo problems." I'm gonna tell you what, man.
It's different problems, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I had my issues before I started making good money. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather have the issues that I have now than the issues that I had when I was broke. But listen, first world problem.
Very nice to know you can buy like a bougie toothbrush and your shit's gonna go through.
You know, as inconvenient as it is, like, don't feel sorry for me, man. Yeah, it is. Eventually, it is my money, and they will let me spend it. I just don't like having to jump through hoops to spend my own money.
No, but it's important. It is important because people think like what's going to be hard is like, how do I make money? And that's not the hard part.
No,
it isn't. It's not,
dude.
That is just shocking. That's how
real work begins. Don't get me wrong. Making good money is not easy, but dude, once you reach a certain tax bracket, that's when the work really starts. It's something I did not see coming. I was not prepared. I was like, what the fuck? I've got all this money in the bank and I can't make a $40 purchase because I'm 2 miles away from my house. What the fuck's wrong with you guys?
Right.
Oh boy. Anyway. Listen, great episode, man. Great phone call. I think we'll open up the phone calls on a regular basis, man. All right,
I think next time between you and I, we keep them off for the first little bit. I would like to do phones. I love asking questions, and I know last time I don't want to say we're gonna do one thing and then we're not.
Of course.
But yeah, we opened the calls. I didn't think they were gonna come in that hot, but they did the whole time.
Yeah.
And so next time we can cover some phones and really dive down that if you're down with that.
Then we can open up the phone lines, right?
Then we can open the phone lines, man. Y'all got some good questions. I'm not mad at you, but
man, these are coming hot, man. Man, they broke the phone lines. Imagine what it's going to be like for the 6 tonight. JD, tell me where they can find you, man.
Smart Flippers Facebook is best way to find me, best way to get in touch, and look forward to basically I cover a lot of the topics we talk about on the show. Also, it's grown to the point where people are posting their wins, asking good questions there too as well. And then people, I have a lot of talented people in the group that are answering those questions before I even see them come up, which is, super cool to have talented people. We got real estate flippers, we have couch flippers, phone flippers, people that are higher than me in phone flipping. I mean, there's all different types of niches and talent levels in there. So
good.
Look forward to getting y'all in there.
Well, I appreciate you spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Have fun in Atlanta, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See y'all.
Take care, guys.